Hey y'all, it's Laura and welcome back to another Coco Manila Studio Design Team layout. Now, this lovely picture is of my two oldest kiddos, and I am just loving this phase that they're in life of really finding their own style. So that's the entire purpose for this layout, is both acknowledging and encouraging them to find their own style. Now, to get started, I wanted to use these new dies that I just picked up, and they're just alphabet dies. And I've never had alphabet dies before, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to try them out. And so I grabbed this really bright green paper from the A5 stack, and I'm going to use that to make my titles. Now, this is not a color I normally go for in a big way, but for this layout, it works. And one of the ways that it works is because these dies cut really thin letters, you get that pop of color without the green feeling like it's taking over the layout. So you'll see how that works in just a minute. I'm just popping it through my Sizzix Big Shot. This is the fold away version because I have very limited space on my desk and I do like having it right on my desk, which reminds me to use it. Now, pulling out all of the letters, of course, I am spelling hair amazing, and that is my title. So I do have to run the A and I back through to make sure I have all of the letters to spell hair amazing. If you are wondering how to come up with some clever titles for your layouts, sometimes just be a little silly. You know, it doesn't always have to be something really poignant or super on point to your photos. Sometimes it can be just fun, and that is quite often the route I take with my photos, especially when they're photos that are a little silly, which this one in particular I purposely took. I had my two kids come outside with me so I could take their picture to kind of illustrate how different their style is. Charlie on the left has very short hair. It's shaved underneath, and then it's a little bit longer on top, but it kind of fluffs up short about their ear length. Alex on the right has extremely long hair. It's longer than mine now, and it is this beautiful, brilliant ginger red, and I absolutely love it. So, it has been so much fun to watch the two of them embrace their different styles, and having the two standing next to each other in comparison I thought was just really fun. So for this layout, I wanted to use this absolutely stunning Starburst paper. It just seemed perfect for a square photo, and it was calling to me. So we absolutely had to use it. I do have a full page of fussy cut stars. I fussy cut a 12 by 12 page and an A5 paper stack page to get these tiny stars. It took a while, but I really enjoy fussy cutting, so it wasn't too much for me. I just had a lot of fun with it. And this one, I'm just starting with the larger stars, of course, centered around my photo and moving outward from there. Now, at first, I was really trying to stick to the line. So I'm putting a lot of the little stars on the lines around the page. I don't want it to be perfectly uniform. I want it to feel kind of random, because when you think of a star explosion, you think of randomness, right? So I'm trying not to put a lot of colors next to each other that are the same. So if I've got a yellow, I'm going to put the yellow on the other side. If I've got a green, I'm going to move that one away from the other green. Just trying to spread out the colors as much as possible. And also the sizes. So you see I'm mixing up the sizes. I've got some medium sized stars, some tiny stars, some in-between stars. This is purposeful. I want it to look random. Bring in my title just so that I can see it on the page. Now I do end up at the end just gluing that title down. So there's no special technique with these thin letters. Glue does the job, and they worked beautifully. I really like how these came out. I think that they're just enough pop on the page without taking away too much attention from my photo. Another reason this green works is because it's in the background of my photo already. So by using a color, one color, that is predominant in my photo, and avoiding another color that is predominant in my photo, which initially was red. I don't have a lot of red on this layout. You'll see I add a teeny bit of red at the end, but not a lot. And so what that does is that color avoidance technique draws your eye into the photo first. because there's a big, bold color that doesn't appear in a big way anywhere else on the layout. The little bit of red that I add at the end is just a tiny little bit of detail work. It's no big deal. So the photo stands on its own and it stands beautifully. So now that I have at least what I think are the stars I'm going to use, I'm going to end up adding a few more because I go a little star crazy, we'll be honest. Pulling in these cut apart pieces, again, from the A5 paper stack and from a 12 by 12 paper, I always prepare my full collections. As soon as I get them in, I fussy cut anything I want to fussy cut, and so that makes my scrapping with these collections much faster and much easier, and I like that. I like that ease of use, we'll say. So just trying some word phrases around the page, and I really liked overlapping some of these word phrases on the larger stars. One of the phrases was too long, so I just chopped it down. It says, "too legit." If we have any other 80s and 90s kiddos who are familiar with "too legit," I really enjoyed that one, I have to tell you. So flipping through, I do want to put some journaling on this page, but I don't need a lot. So I am going to kind of play around with these little labels, and I do end up popping one just there on the bottom left corner of my photo so that I can add just a tiny bit of journaling, just acknowledging what this layout is about. And that's it, so that it's not going to be a big amount of journaling that I have to write lines for off on the side. It's just a small little note. And sometimes that's all you need. If you're really just having a small story and you're acknowledging something kind of fun and funny, I don't think you need a ton of journaling. Now I am using my little tiny star hole punch on this beautiful striped paper because I wanted that red. I wanted that red really, really bad. And so I found a little bit of red on one of the papers and I punched out my own tiny little stars, and I'm going to add those around the page just to get a few pops of that red. Why did I need to do that? Mostly because I had added a word phrase that had red in it. And so I felt like I don't want that to be the only red and my photo. So instead I kept that little word phrase very close to my photo so it doesn't draw too much attention away. And then I spread just teeny tiny little bits of red out amongst the stars. So you get another little bit of it red, but it's the majority eye-popping red is in the photo itself. So I am bringing in these little puffy stars, which I am obsessed with, by the way, because there's some beautiful red ones on there, and also because I love them. They add a little bit of texture. They're not super dimensional, which I really prefer. So I can add them amidst my little flat stars that are glued straight down onto the background, and they add just a little pop of something interesting, something non-papery, adds a little texture, adds a little interest, and I really enjoy that. So having little puffy stickers like this in your embellishing can make a big difference on the page. Now for me, this is a stage I call scattering and splattering. It's when I'm finishing off the layout. I add lots of little details around the page. In this case, I'm using the tiny puffy stars, and then I'll come in with 2 layers of splattering. I always start with some Nuvo drops and do some controlled splattering, and then I come in with some gold ink spray and do some uncontrolled splattering. And between the two, it adds a lot of extra detail to the page that for me takes a layout from really nice to wow. I just think it elevates the layout beautifully and is worth doing. I also really enjoy that detail work, and that probably has something to do with it as well. Now I found this beautiful black Starry Night paper, and I just had to use it for a border. I do love to have a nice dark border on a light background layout. So I'm going to go ahead and gut it so I can use that black paper for another layout. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some tape on the inside perimeter. I cut about 1 inch all the way around off of this black paper. And so I'm using 1/4 inch tape on the inside perimeter. That way I can just set my layout right on top and get it exactly in place. And this adds a really nice dark contrast that I love on this layout. It also speaks to my son's dark gray shirt, and so that helps kind of reflect the same color scheme that's in the photo onto the layout. Now I've really enjoyed diving into this new No Limits collection from Coco Vanilla Studio. And if you would like to see more details on this collection, I do have a flip through of the entire collection on my channel. And on the blog at cocovanilla.com.au, they have a complete blog post about all of the beautiful things that are in this collection. And I absolutely love that Zoe took a space theme and made it usable. It's usable for so many different types of photos, so many different types of layouts, and I am just loving it. It's not boy themed, it's space themed, but it's done so well. That's it for this one. Until next time. Bye, y'all.